so excited to be here. Thank you for joining me today. We are talking about business trend predictions for 2023, and I am super, super excited to discuss this. Wow. Over these past couple of years, things have gotten very fast. Since I last did any broadcasts really about business and how to focus on your business growth and how to bring in connections and cooperation and really be your highest and best self as a business leader. And it is just, this is something that has really been on my heart for so long. And I am so excited to share this with you today. And also, I'll be inviting you to continue the conversation with me after this broadcast and into the future. This is the first broadcast of a new podcast that I am bringing to life. I tended to switch the words. So, yeah, doing business better. Sometimes I say doing better business, but I decided to go with doing business better. And the reason that this is something, it's actually been becoming for quite some time. It kind of goes against what a lot of people advise. A lot of really smart, brilliant, very, very kind and generous and wonderful people. I have a gift that I've always had, and it's a very deep, spiritual, intuitive gift. And this is something that really scares a lot of people. Over the years, as I've consulted with and my agency and doing publicity and connections, we have connected and served thousands of business owners and helped them grow their business, grow their relationships, grow their connections. And this is something that people like to understand how to do certain things. And the fact of the matter is everyone is born with unique gifts and skills and abilities. And over time, we really learn about how to focus on specific things. And we tend to like to stay in our lane. This is really difficult for a creative, especially somebody who sometimes it's called multi-passionate. This is one of the things I've seen often over the years. And conventional wisdom says, focus on one task until success. You've probably heard that, right? Focus on one task until success. And you got to just put the blinders on and focus on your thing. And so what I have been researching, studying, experiencing, exploring, and testing over many, many years is how does that really affect the individual when we go against our intuition, when we decide, well, we're gonna push through regardless because we've got to pay the bills or these are the expectations. And now more than ever in society, people are falling apart. Like there's a lot of pain. Not that there's not always been a lot of pain, but these last 2 years have been extremely excruciating for a lot of people. And it is getting to a point where I believe that it's time to step in and it's time to put my big girl pants on and very clearly speak up. I've always been a disruptor and I've always been innovative, and I've always pretty much kept that pretty quiet relatively because I don't like making people uncomfortable. And this year, I well, for these last couple of years, I've been really pushing the envelope with that and exploring what happens when it's like the real world, the original. What happens when we stop being polite and start getting real? And it is not fun. It is not fun at all. And I have done many things and I have offended many people, and I have pushed boundaries beyond what is welcome. And I have discovered that that is the only way I can do. And so I am not everybody's cup of tea. I've never been everybody's cup of tea. For many years though, probably like you, I have figured out how to be a chameleon. I have figured out how to blend, how to not upset the natural order of things, if you will. And I have discovered that that is not going to happen anymore. And so if you are tuning in and you're listening to this and you are feeling the vibe, stay tuned because it is only going to get better and more exciting from here. And I am here to help you share your highest and best and be who you are in the world without having to be in fear. I have done the work myself. I have gone through all the processes and I know how to guide in the most incredible way that it's taken me almost 47 years to really figure out. And so it just is so nice to be able to support people who are leaders, who are visionaries, who are true messengers, who struggle with how to not rock the boat too much. And so in 2023, my expectation is that things are actually going to get more challenging for most people. Things are, I mean, if you listen to the financial people, they're going to tell you all about the recession and how things are going to get so tough. True. If you're listening to religious people, they're going to tell you how much you need to turn to God, to faith, to the Bible. True. And if you listen to the big gurus who are telling you how to build your business, they are using a lot of buzzwords and they're using a lot of terminology, but this is how it works. This is how marketing and advertising works. This is how we keep people stuck in fear, in chaos, in panic. And as you know, the mental health industry, pharmaceuticals, all of this is larger than it has ever been. And people within the medical system, they are less and less and less. Birth rates around the world, less and less and less. And so I predict that in 2023 and beyond, there is going to be more turmoil for most people. However, it doesn't have to be that way. It really is perspective. And if you understand what's happening for you, and you understand how to self-regulate, and you understand how to really be your truest, authentic self, not these words. These words are immaterial, really. We're always going through cycles where truth comes out and it gets adopted in language. However, it's not integrated in a visceral way. And so for folks who believe all of the good meaning, well, loving language and everything, and who perpetuate that messaging, these are often the people who are struggling the most because it's incongruent with what's going on inside. So there's a lot of brilliant people who have done the work and who are sharing in a way that's so powerful because they know how much humanity is suffering right now. And so they're very passionate to get their message out, and they're very passionate and very brilliant and very good people. At the same time, what's happening to most people who are hearing these words and these awarenesses and these teachings is that most people, I would say probably 95 to 98% of people are like, yes, 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 yes. And they're sharing the message and sharing the message. But what's actually happening is they are adding layers of essentially trauma or masks on top of what's already buried. And so when we do this, when we say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what you need to do for growing your business. Okay, here's what to do. Here, do this, follow these directions. Okay, this thing. What happens is for most people, they've already gotten to a point on their own of success. And then they came together with other successful people, shared learning, shared knowledge, shared all this stuff. And so for many, many, many years, it was an upward, upward, upward lifting up of all. What's happening now is over the last, I'd say, 5 years or so, people have become more fractioned. They're separating, right? So there's we are all one. This is oneness. This is humanity. And so when we used to come together, it was masterminding, it was uplifting, it was wonderful. Then we came into a time prior to COVID and the war going on and many big tragedies, many big things. There was a bit of a lull there for a while. And people started feeling it without necessarily understanding or being able to articulate it. People started feeling like the end is near. And if you've been in a relationship where you've just been so wholeheartedly in the relationship, but something just feels amiss, and it's not that anything you can put your finger on, but you just start feeling like, my partner is distant, or my partner is feeling like it's not the same. Something's wrong. And then we go into self-sabotaging behavior. This is all pattern. Same thing has been going on atmospherically, if you will, in the world, in society. And so when we go into a space of feeling like a little depleted, a little like something bad is coming, I don't know what it is, but we start energetically going into protection mode. And this is based upon our past experiences. So as we go into this kind of protection mode, we start checking our bank accounts and we start looking around and, are there any threats? What are the threats? We just start getting more protective of everything we have, whether it's business, whether it's family, whether it's resources. It just happens. And oftentimes it's so subtle that people don't notice it. As we went through that time, especially as business leaders, especially as high functioning business leaders, because the higher functioning, the more intelligent someone is, the closer they are to the leading edge, meaning that by the time mainstream society catches up with what's going on, it's already in deep process, right? So for folks who have been at the leading edge of technology, of media, of business, of service, they understand this, right? There's a lot of brilliant technologists or founders of tech companies that had steady growth, steady growth, steady growth, and then whoop, an upwards trajectory that went wild. And then they exited at a certain point. And thank goodness they did, because as they can see after the exit, wow, I got out just in time. I got out right at the right time, because then there's all this like competition and you can't stand out because others adopt the language, adopt the behavior, copy what was already successful. And by that point, the leaders are already onto something else. And by that point, the world is starting to become aware of what is already perhaps a decade old, but it seems new. And so I'm not sure how you're following me right now, but I'm going to trust that you are, because I'd like to continue on here. So as the foremost leaders on the leading edge of anything new, whether it's technology or I'm going to just stick with technology, because frankly, technology is our humanity moving forward. And the folks who adopt this understanding of innovation, disruption, not from a chaotic place, disruption as in leading edge, right? And if you look back throughout time, whether it was electric or refrigeration or the automobile or going to space, any of these things were impossible by societal standards until it was done. And when it was done, the folks who were doing it were nuts. They were totally crazy. They were outcast. They were sometimes murdered. Like this is since the dawn of time. The innovators, the speakers, the messengers who are saying, wait, look at this. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. This is real. It takes a long time for society to catch up to that. And many times throughout history, it's taken beyond someone's lifetime, physical lifetime, for people to catch up. And so if we look at the great leaders, the great teachers of society that came 100, 200, 300, thousands of years before, then we can see how, if we remove our ego and we look at that from purely a factual base, we can see how innovation has happened, how evolving has happened. We can see that in every aspect of humanity, of every aspect of our life. Things are always moving forward. We have come to a point now where so many people have gotten access to things beyond their comprehension. And this is where things start getting destructive. And so with that, I know we are actually in the most fascinating time ever to be had. This is the most incredible season we're going into of growth and rebirth. We are moving forward always. I've said this over and over and over and over and over throughout the decades that I've lived. Always things are happening for us, not to us. For us, not to us. And sometimes it feels like we are being victimized, like things are happening to us. But that is a false belief. Things are always happening for us. Most people just don't understand that. They get fixated or focused on what they don't like, what feels bad. And so, with my predictions and recommendations for 2023 and moving forward for business owners and visionaries and leaders, whether that's in business or not, right? Anybody listening to this can adopt this understanding to any aspect of their lives. When we understand that everything is happening for us, we can relax in that a little bit. We can take solace in that a little bit. And we're able to then breathe and not get into, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Explain, explain, explain. Because that's not helpful. That's going, there's a problem and it came from the past and I'm not going to let it go until it gets resolved. That's not how the universe works. You cannot take a tree that's growing and push it back down into the ground and say, no, tree, you're moving too fast. Get back in the ground. We can kill the tree. We can enjoy the tree, but we cannot stunt the growth. Well, I guess we could, but we cannot put it back where it came from. And that is how humanity is too. And so, on a side note, the children that have been being born over these past couple of decades, a lot of people will talk about how it's so awful to bring children into this world. And I feel exactly the opposite. It is beautiful to bring the children into this world. The problem is that when we teach the children what we have learned and what not to do and how to not be themselves, this is where the pain comes from on all sides. This is why there have been people have been talking about dealing with a child who feels like they're in a different sexual body than they are. It is because when we come into this world, we have everything we need, just as like when we leave this world. We come in as peace, we leave as peace, period. Complete, nothing else. We can't take anything with us. It is the life experience that we live during our life on earth that informs the next generation, the next generation, the next generation. So there's a lot of people over these past years who've really been starting to say, legacy matters. Legacy matters to me. How do I want to leave this world? What impact do I want to make? And they've been reevaluating what they've done throughout their lifetime and their professional career. And they're sitting there going, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I have guilt. And they're either shutting that down and pushing it down, like trying to push a tree back into the ground, or they're seeing what has come up anyhow, despite bad behavior. And when we can look at what has grown despite pain, despite bad behavior, we can appreciate everything that we have gone through, that we have put others through, that we are, because that is just the cycle of life. And when we appreciate what we have created in a way that is not, I'm so important and I made this and I did this and I need to be recognized. But instead, we can simply appreciate the beautiful tree and look at it and say, isn't that phenomenal? Isn't that phenomenal, though even I didn't water it, and even though I just didn't pay attention to it, there it is nonetheless. And it's beautiful and it's vibrant and there are birds in it and there are, new growth all the time, and the leaves fall off and the leaves regrow. And so as we can appreciate every aspect of what has happened despite us, despite what we have done, it is an incredible, incredible awareness. It is an incredible alignment. And from that place of feeling more in peace and appreciative and recognizing how little our actions really matter in the whole grand scheme of things, we can take a look and say, what else would I like to bring to life? What else would I love to not infect the world with, but bless the world with? And the more we think about us as the doer and us as the dictator, the less the blessing becomes. We have to be able to get out of our own way. We have to be able to recognize, wow, this is something that's really special. I have been able to do this type of thing over and over and over as I reflect. And this comes so naturally to me and it feels so good. So how can I now harness my greatest gifts and my deepest beingness in a way that truly is of service? So I don't have to act out in bad behavior anymore. I don't have to push anymore. I can just allow the birth and allow the growth simply by focusing on what's working. It's obviously more complex than that, but that is the beginning of this awareness that will help you truly start creating legacy through inspiration rather than perspiration. And this is very key. So in 2023 and beyond, now, mainstream wisdom, mainstream leaders, business advisors, all of that, they're not going to explain this to you right now. They will in a couple of years, probably, after they experience the blocks and the chaos, and they're going to get a deeper understanding. Because when people speak from a place of logical understanding, when they speak from a place of intellectual understanding, It's not that they're wrong, they're right. They're good, they are smart, they are wonderful. And with that, until they also can have a visceral understanding of that which they are preaching, meaning that they have experienced it in a deep way and in enough and have been able to reflect about that and see and understand and feel and then bring to words their interpretation of the visceral experience for them, they will only be able to give fragments of truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. But growth seekers who truly want to grow to the highest degree possible, in order for that to happen, they have to surrender. And there's a lot of people in the world surrendering right now and have been over the last couple of years in mass numbers. This is not popular. This is not newsworthy. This is not exciting. What is exciting? Chaos, trauma, drama, school shootings. Hey, let's make some movies about it. Let's put it on TV. And then, oh my gosh, let's complain about it. Let's talk about the problems. Let's talk about the problems. Let's put it in more movies. Let's put it on TV. Let's actually, now that we don't need TV or movies, because everybody who has a mouth and a piece of a cell phone has a voice and they can speak about anything they want. So let's give the people the podium. And so people will talk more and more and more and more and more and more and more. They'll talk more and more about all the problems and how to rise up against it and how to join together and fight. Well, guess what? The more we give that which we don't want, energy or attention, the more we have of what we don't want. And so people who are hearing me and trying to make sense of what I'm saying, because they really want to, they're understanding in a way, they're having a visceral, they're having like a buzzing in their body, or a breathe, like a easier to breathe than it's been, or they're recognizing truth in my message, but then they want to go figure it out for themselves. This isn't the way. It's a way, and you can definitely do it, but the way, meaning the easy way, is to come to somebody who is resonating with you. And when people resonate with that really delicious, juicy goodness, oftentimes the problem is that they then go, ooh, okay, now I understand better. Because they do. They have a deeper, better understanding. So then they go into doing mode, to application, but they're not ready yet. They haven't hit their bottom. They haven't hit the visceral experience that is such that they need to get to really understand it. And oftentimes, almost always times, that visceral understanding does not come until deep, deep crisis. So we repeat crisis over and over, drama and trauma and drama and trauma and crisis, and dealing with it and getting yourself cleaned up and putting on a smiley face and getting yourself powerful and strong, and then putting it out in the world. But what that does, as I was saying before, is it pushes down the deeper layers of trauma so that they are buried more. It's like piling more dirt on the ground because you want to put the tree back in the ground, but it doesn't work that way. You can't push the tree back into the ground. So instead, what are we going to do? We're going to put more dirt, more soil, more grass seed. We're going to build up the ground over the tree trunk. My friends, the tree is still the same height, and it is getting higher every day. It is growing and growing and growing, and no matter how much you want to hide it, it doesn't stop the growth. And so until we are willing to get really, really intimate and personal and be able to confront these things with another who can help us understand, meaning The other is not telling us what to do to be pretty or to let things like to change things. The other is holding with skill and grace, holding the space for another to fall apart, to break down, to express fully. It's from that place where another feels like a freight train hit them, frankly. And instead of then picking up the pieces and putting duct tape on it and walking around in the world like broken, I mean, this is what disease is. Disease, wounds, they fester when they are not cleaned out, right? Abscesses happen and people drop dead and all sorts of things happen because the wounds have not been cleaned up. And that is the biggest key for everyone, business or not, in how to move forward without pain, without suffering, without trauma. And when you can heal in this very deep way, that is when all others can heal right along with you. That is when you are truly a meaningful messenger. That is when you can, from a power position, whether it's political, whether it's in business, whether it's leading your family, from this place of cleaning out the wound and allowing the body to regenerate, or the land to regenerate, or the whatever fill in the blank to regenerate from within, opposed to layering and layering and layering tactics, advice, strategy. If there's already a wound inside, it has to be cleaned up. And so the way this has been manifesting and the way it will continue to manifest for those who are not choosing to get real and to get raw and to allow the cleaning up, right? Taking that break and allowing the cleaning up before they proceed. Everything's falling apart. And so the way technology right now is being used by most is totally ineffective, totally appalling. So the most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, for business leaders moving forward in 2023 and beyond is to, number one, figure out what's going on at the deepest level. And I am here 24/7, anytime, reach out. Best way to do that is contact.growthseekerswelcome.com. You can reach out to me anytime for any reason, and it is confidential. So that's number one, if you would like my help personally. But even if you don't, it is about figuring out where the depth of the dis-ease is in your own humanity, in your own personal life, your personal experience. Once you have figured that out, then you can start allowing the healing from within, which then can come out, and you can deal with your business, and you can start correcting things, and you can start being more intentional and all of these things. So I'm actually putting together a workshop. It's already put together. I've been wanting to share this. In fact, I used to teach this publicly many years ago, and people got so much out of it. And then I just stopped because I needed to figure out where the disconnects were. Because once people learned what I was teaching, they just ran out and started using my emails as their own, not even sometimes changing the language or the links, using language verbally, speaking on podcasts, saying the same thing I had been teaching. I am not important, to be clear. Nicole Holland does not matter. Nicole Holland is simply a messenger of truth. And so when someone, whether it's Nicole Holland or any other person that you listen to, when you take their words and you take their what your perception is of what they're doing or how they're doing something and you make it your own, this is what you're taught to do. I get it. It is the worst thing you can do. Make it your own. No, no, no. Don't make it your own. Figure out who you are and be more you. Figure out who you are and be more you. You cannot adopt somebody else and pretend that that's you. You just cannot. You may have success for a little while, but then everything will fall apart. And so that is the message in moving forward in this next year, in this next decade, and forevermore. You cannot adopt somebody else and pretend that it's you, or change the message or change things, but use them as, what do we call it in copywriting? It's a swipe file. Stop swiping. Stop taking advertisements and copying them. Again, sure, they'll work for a little while, but algorithms will always change. And then you're going to go, the algorithm. And now what was costing me X before is now costing me this now. I got to figure something out. You're always going to be behind the curve. Always, every time. Every single time. That guru or leader who's so successful in something, they may think they can teach you how to do what they're doing, how to get the results, and to a degree they can. But they will always be ahead of you if you're following the leader. It's about figuring out who you are, not adopting other people as your mentor and copying them. There is no one size fits all. There is no business in a box or anything in a box. You must be willing to come face to face with your deepest fears and your deepest understanding of who you are, not what you do, not what you're good at, who you are. Because it's only from that place of understanding who you really, really, truly are, and not who you've become, or the job title or the success, because this is where people burn out. And I was getting to that before. There are more people in this world burnt out today than there have ever been before. And while, yes, suicides have gone up, and yes, birth rates have gone down, and all these other things that you can point to proof of, there are many things going on that you do not even understand. You do not even know. There are so many people who have already figured this out, and they've already started making changes, and they'll continue to make changes because they understand that if they are not being who they are in pain. They are struggling. They are in crisis. And so that is the number one thing that I am here to do. Elevate consciousness, eradicate poverty. Poverty is not only being poor, that is your perception of that is the problem. Poverty is being poor internally. It is a matter of the disconnect from who you really are to what you are living in the world. And it doesn't matter if you have billions of dollars or zero, not a pot to piss in. All can be impoverished, and I guarantee you all are. It is only through doing the deep work of understanding who you are and living from that place of understanding, then creating. Understand, create, and we go up the levels, once we go to understanding who you are, it's going to be an incredible next decade plus. It really is. Innovation is going to happen like it's never happened before. Art, music, science, all the things are going to be becoming as they have been. But the attention right now is on what's popular, what's easy to accept without doing the deep work. There's more programs on than ever before, more options, more channels, more messages, and it's only getting more apps, more ways to do fucking dances and become viral because people are tuning out from who they are and they're tuning in to something that gives them relief. And this is what addiction is. We talk about addiction from a standpoint of alcohol or drugs or sex or video games or whatever, fill in the blank. The truth is, it is almost all. It really is. It is that sense of desiring to make every pain go away. And so whether it's a prescribed pill or a diagnosis that you can carry around and say, I have fibromyalgia, so I'm exempt from all of this, or fill in the blank of whatever ailment. We are more addicted than ever before to excuses. And I love you so much. And if you are still listening, I am so excited to have you here with me. And if you are feeling right now very angry or agitated, I encourage you to take some breaths. I encourage you to drink a lot of water. And I encourage you to let yourself forget everything I've been talking about. And when you're ready to listen to me again, you know where I am. You know how to tune in. But as you feel anger and as you feel hate and as you feel triggered, as you feel that I am a problem, it is you not coming to understand who you are and how things work. So with love and light and blessings and whatever other flowery words you want to use, take a break. Take a break. Don't tune in. And if it's the opposite, and when you're listening to me, your body's buzzing with, oh my gosh, finally somebody is saying what I've been feeling. I haven't been able to put words to it, but yes, 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 yes. Then please contact me. contact.growthseekerswelcome.com and share whatever you want to with me. There is no judgment. There is no right and wrong. The more you tune in to hearing a message that gives you peace and understanding, the more you can have it and the deeper you can go. But if you're not willing to say, here I am, please help me more, that is your ego stopping you from your growth. Period. Doesn't matter where you are in life. If you cannot tell somebody who you feel a connection with and that you feel could help you, if you say, oh, I wouldn't be able to afford them, or, oh, I'm not important enough, oh, they're only focused on that. Fuck that shit. That is what keeps people stuck. That is what keeps things festering, and that is what kills people. There's no need for it. So with that, please do reach out. I don't care what your financial means are. I don't care where in the world you are. I don't care anything about the conditions of what you're coming through. I am unconditional. I am love, period. And with love, right, if you expect that love is going to show up to tell you what you want to hear, you are wrong. That is denial. That is the people that you surround yourself with to allow yourself to not have to confront and face and heal whatever traumas you have. And so if you are not interested in going deep, that is okay. Wherever you are is perfect. Blessings. You know where I am when you're ready. And if you are ready for somebody to help you and not abandon you, I get that you have trusted before. I know you have. I know you have. And, there are many wise people and therapists and all sorts of people who can talk to you about why an abandonment issue or why this and what happened in your childhood and all that. You can talk till you're blue in the face. You can talk and talk and talk and think and think and think and think. But unless you are willing to allow yourself to fall apart with somebody who is willing to be there and be there. Doesn't mean they're going to be physically there. Doesn't mean they are going to ride along in crisis. But they are there, and they are there to support you. And if you are willing to surrender your expectations and allow yourself to be supported, use me. This is what I have been born to do. This is who I am. And so with that, oh, thank you. From a business perspective, I have a new workshop that is ready, and I'm just waiting for people to contact me and say, hey, I'm ready to heal this particular wound. And this particular wound in this particular case for this workshop is business growth, stability and growth. There are too many people putting up barriers and using technology in a way that is like totally off-putting. Set it and forget it? Absolutely not. When you put all these automations into practice, you are basically energetically telling your customers, your partners, your team members, fuck you. Fuck you. I don't have time for you. You're not important enough for me. I am so busy. I am so important. Don't you know who I am? That's what you're telling them energetically. And I can help you understand how to fix that in an instant. So this new workshop is leveraging technology for deeper connections. And this is, staff, partners, clients. This can also be done in your personal life and in managing your family and managing your relationships. All you have to do, contact.growthseekerswelcome. Tell me who you are in terms of what are you looking for? What do you want? What is your vision? And that you are ready to be helped. That is all. That is absolutely all you've got to do. With that, I am actually not going to open up the channel today for comments because this is not right now for this purpose where I want to hear from you. Contact.growthseekerswelcome.com. Unconditionally. I don't care where you're coming from. I don't care what you have or don't have. I don't care. I love you anyhow. I love you anyhow. And I am here for you. I am here to support you. But you must let me know you want my help. And with that, I love you so much. Many blessings. Have an incredible rest of your day.